Creative Magic Club. What's up? This is Sarah Mack and welcome to Creative Magic Club. Together, we'll discover inspirational stories of creative entrepreneurs living out their dreams, doing the work they are most passionate about, and building wealth in magical and fun ways. While building a six-figure income as a writer and coach, helping other women to launch their dream businesses, I've connected with so many incredible people and seen it proven again and again that you can thrive financially doing whatever it is you are passionate about. I am here to share life-changing strategies for mindset, making money, and reaching more people with your work in a business and life filled with creativity, freedom, and fun. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode. I'm so excited to introduce my guest today. Brigitte van Tuijl is a writer and master coach for women entrepreneurs. She shows them how to make a big difference in the world without selling yourself short or changing who you are. In the past 2 decades, she's helped thousands of women get clear on their true dream and make it real. Her clients have launched businesses globally, published their first books, doubled their incomes, and realized their most important goals and desires. Her 4th book, The Art of Divine Selfishness, Transform Your Life, Your Business, and the World by Putting You First, was published in March. Her 5th book, The Inner Minimalist, Clear the Clutter of Your Mind for a Simpler, Quieter, and Happier Life, will be published in June. Hi, Brigitte. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to connect with you and hear more about your work. Yeah. So please tell us what's your story? Like, how did you get to doing the work that you do today?
Well, I'll try to keep it short. But how I started off is that I really didn't have any idea what it was that I wanted to do. So I had one job after another, and I started 2 university studies that I didn't finish either of them. And then when I was 30, I thought, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. I can continue to hop from one thing to the next and never find it. So then I went to a career coach to help me figure out what my purpose was, because that was really important to me, to find something meaningful to do and fulfilling. And at the end of that coaching, I realized that was what I wanted to do, to help other people who didn't know what they wanted, to help them figure out what it was that they truly wanted, from the depths of their soul. And so then I started my coaching business 2 years later. And so that's how I started. And another thing that I always wanted ever since I was a kid was to write. That was my dream. But I never knew what to write about, I never saw myself writing novels or poetry or plays or becoming a journalist. So I didn't know how or what to write about. So I just put that dream on the back burner, and I thought that maybe that dream only represented the freedom that I associated with being a writer, doing what you want, when you want, why you want it, and then the money just magically comes in. And but then on the first day of starting my coaching business, I realized, okay, now I know what I want to write about. I want to write about the things I coach people on, and I want to write books about the things that I teach them and about the questions they ask. And so that's how I started. And then after a couple of years, I wrote my first book. And a little bit after that, I realized that I wanted to work globally, not just in the Netherlands, where I'm from, and also that I no longer wanted to do career coaching or helping people find their purpose. That was really what it was. And I wanted to work with women entrepreneurs instead, as you mentioned in the bio. So that is how I came to do what I do today, with a couple of detours, and from not knowing what I wanted at all, and then from just jumping in. And then, life always takes you to what you're supposed to do. As long as you follow what's in your heart, you will always end up in the right place, wherever that is.
Amazing. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I'm really
Yeah.
excited to dive into the topic of your fourth book, which is The Art of
Hmm.
Divine Selfishness, which I
Yeah.
love because I do really feel like selfishness needs a rebrand because it's seen as a negative thing, right?
Yes.
Particularly for women, like, oh, we're supposed to self-sacrifice and put everyone's needs before us. And
Yeah.
we've all
Blah, 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 blah.
discovered that that doesn't actually turn out very well for anyone. So please tell me,
Mhm.
like, tell me about this book, how it came about, what your thoughts are on this topic.
Well, the book really came about because I learned how to be divinely selfish myself pretty young, I think, because I'm extremely introverted, which does not mean that I'm shy, but it means that I need to be alone to recharge. And also, I love to create things. I just love to be in my own bubble, have my own thoughts, and write about that. I love that. So I need a lot of alone time. And when you grow up, you don't get a lot of alone time. You're always within the family setting or you're in school. And later, I had a job and then you're surrounded by people all day long. So I had to learn to carve out those moments of alone time. And I need a lot of alone time, like 90% of the time, preferably. I need to be alone, want to be alone. So I had to learn how to set boundaries, how to say no, how to, especially when I was still working in a job, there were colleagues all around me and super nice people, all of them. But I didn't want them hanging around me all the time, So I implemented this rule where I started work somewhere between 8:30 and 9 a.m. But I told everyone, don't come near me until it's 9:30. So I had and people listened, when I just worked there, they tried. I think one or two people maybe tried to come into my office before 9:30. And then all I did was point at my watch. I was still wearing a watch then and shake my head. Like, I didn't even tell them anything. So that was very effective. People were a bit like, okay, this is a bit of a weird, but okay, all right. She said 9:30. And then they came back at 9:30 and I was just open for them. So I learned how to do my own thing and set boundaries and say no and just be true to me from a young age. And then when I remember when I finished my coaches training, my own coach said to me, she said, why do you think people will come to you as a coach? And I didn't really, we had some back and forth about it, because I started saying, well, because they don't know what they want. And yeah, and she was like, no, people can go to any coach for that. But why do they come to you personally, specifically? And I wasn't really clear. And then she said, well, I can tell you why I think people will come to you. And that is, people will come to you because you are so good at doing your own thing, regardless of what others do or what other people think of that. And that is something that everyone desires. So I think people will come to you for that. And then I started coaching and I realized that was true. I was always, especially because women entrepreneurs are my audience, and I was always coaching them still on things like saying no and setting boundaries and letting go of the need to please others and all these things and prioritizing yourself and your self-care. So over the years, I realized that, yeah, I'm going to write a book about this someday. I'm going to write a book about this someday. And first I wrote some other books, but then last year I felt, yes, now is the time. And I already was using the term, the art of divine selfishness. I was already using that since 2015 or 16, I think. And especially for that reason, which you said it yourself, you said, I feel that the term selfishness needs a rebranding because it's seen as a negative. And I decided to just claim it as something positive and make it my own, because that's truly what I stand for, that when you prioritize yourself, and then I'm not talking about your shallow needs or desires, like, oh, I feel like punching you in the face or whatever. Yeah, no, please deal with your trigger and your wounds and don't punch anyone in the face, okay? But your your deeper desires, the things your soul craves and needs, and the things your personality needs and desires, to put that first. And the beauty is when you do that, and that's why that's in the title, put yourself first so that you transform your own life, your business, and the world. Because when you listen to those deep desires, to the things that come from your soul, when you listen to that and you honor that and you prioritize that, you automatically live your purpose and you automatically contribute to the world and to others. Because everyone's purpose, we all have one, and everyone's purpose is to contribute to others in one way or another, whether it's through baking apple pies or having a podcast like you have, or, doesn't matter. But we all contribute to the whole, to one another. And it so happens that when you do what makes you most happy, you are living your purpose, you are contributing to others, and you live a happy and fulfilled life yourself. So everything falls into place when you put yourself first.
Yeah, I love this conversation, and it's so important, and actually perfectly leads on from the client call that I just came off of. And I think like the flip side to the conversation of saying no, which is another skill that I am always talking about with my clients. It's like which is asking for what we want. Yeah. And I feel like that comes hand in hand with those judgments that are going on of like, oh, I shouldn't be selfish, or I shouldn't, the people pleasing. That's essentially what it is, yes. Right? Yes. And obviously for women entrepreneurs, for creatives, for women with a vision and a desire to make an impact through whatever it is that they're feeling called to do, that would bring them joy and that they're excited about and they're passionate about. Like, we can only get so far on our own, and it does require that we bring in support. And asking for support is, I think, like the first step. And then, bringing in collaborators and like growing our team and bringing in the people that will support the vision. Even if it's just asking for time and boundaries, like you say, with like your family while you work on your thing. And it's incredible how it's, I see the same thing come up over and over again from my clients of this feeling like I don't deserve to ask for what I want, or it's, and that's exactly what people pleasing is, right? Is just projecting onto the other person that they don't want to support us, or that it's putting them out, or that when they have to give to us, it takes away from them, which is just, again, perpetuating the scarcity narrative. Whereas this idea of selfishness, which is like when I honor the fact that I have these desires, when I really listen to them, when I value them enough to take the steps to bring them to life, that everybody benefits from that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest shifts that you've seen in your own life as you've kind of like deepened in your skill and your ability to prioritize yourself first through all of these things, like letting go of people pleasing, saying no, having better boundaries? Like, what was what has that opened up for you personally in your own journey?
A truckload of extra energy, because it is absolutely draining to not honor who you are and what you need. It's just a massive drain. And when you are not true to yourself, you also feel like you will feel like you lose parts of yourself. You lose the connection with yourself. So what I gained was a lot of energy, a sense of coming home into myself, self-love. That is something that absolutely happened, because what also happens when you please others and you don't honor what you want and need, and you make others more important than yourself, what you're really saying is, it's not okay for me to be who I am. Who I am is not enough. Who I am is not good enough. I should change who I am and adjust to what other people expect of me, or to what is the norm. Because if I don't, I cannot survive, and I won't be loved, and I will not belong. That's a really big fear. And I think that everyone is raised with that idea that who you are, as you are, is just not good enough. It's not how you can make it in the world or how you can make it in business. You need to adjust. And letting go of all of those thoughts, it taught me to accept myself first and then gradually learn to really love myself. But it's also very empowering. It's so empowering knowing that who I am is enough. And not everyone will like me, and that's fine. And not everyone will want to have something to do with me, and that's fine. I'm not here for everyone. It's fine. So, and it brings a lot of peace of mind, and yeah, only good things, Sarah, only good things. It's really, and I see that in my clients as well, how they grow in confidence, in self-acceptance, in liking themselves. And what's also interesting is that I noticed that myself as well, and I see it in my clients too, that there's this big fear to prioritize yourself and to start to really honor who you are. They have these fears that they will lose their partner or their friends or their clients, or people won't accept who they are anymore. And too much to their surprise, they see that, yes, some people can't handle it if you start to honor yourself more and you stop pleasing them. But that's because they benefited from you having no boundaries. They were really leeches, to be honest. So you're better off without them. But they all notice that once they do start to honor themselves more, that their relationships deepen, that they attract an even better fitting type of client that they love more and that they love working with more. And everything becomes easier in their life. So the fear is really, really big often, but it's never as scary as they thought it was. And the rewards are always huge. Yeah. Is that something that you see with your clients as well?
Yeah. And I've definitely experienced that for myself as well. And, I really see, people love to talk about ease in women's entrepreneurship. And I feel like this is the conversation that's underneath that. It's really about boundaries, right? It's really about respecting what it is that we need to be able to function at a higher level, to be able to have an impact at a higher level, and to have more fun doing it and to make less sacrifices doing it. And I found that every shift that I've made in my business, in terms of like shift to making more money, shift to working less hours, shift to working with more aligned clients, shift to, sharing offers that were even more and more fun for me to offer, and like getting rid of the types of contracts and work that just would drain my energy. That's all come from me listening to my desire, identifying my needs, and then putting boundaries in place to make that possible. Obviously, creating new opportunities for myself, and then putting boundaries, tightening them up around all of the things that were sucking my energy. And as somebody who has, recovered from, I had like a total burnout, and that was the moment where I shifted into entrepreneurship. That was the lesson that I had to learn. It's like, no, we do not have unlimited resources and unlimited energy to be prioritizing other people's projects, desires, requests. And it's really, we're the only person that's going to value our time and energy. And anybody who can take from that will take from that. So that's our job, right? To decide what the boundaries are. And I definitely work through that with my clients in like systems and just like standard operating procedures of like, when this happens, this is what we do. So because conflict is inevitable, right? Like when we're in a world with tons of other people, we're not always going to align with what it is that we want. Obviously, the better you get at listening to yourself, the better you get at aligning yourself with the people who share your vision and who want to get there in your own way. But when we do come up against things where there is a conflict of interest, or somebody wants us to do something with our time and energy that we don't want to do with our time and energy, just knowing how to really rely on ourselves to be able to navigate those things in a way that isn't super stressful, isn't super draining, doesn't lead to the people pleasing, like self-questioning, like, am I wrong to want this? Or like, is there something wrong with me that I don't agree with this person, or this doesn't feel good to me? And just really getting into that flow of like, being able to say no, which is exactly what you're talking about. It's such a power tool to be able to say no, right?
It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah. And I think what's also very important is to know what your non-negotiables are. And, so for people listening right now and who think, yeah, maybe it would be a good idea to have some boundaries in place or to start honoring my desires more. Start by making a list of all the things that ideally you want them to look like that in your business and in your personal life. And just, it doesn't matter. All the things, whether they seem realistic or not, or whether you feel comfortable implementing or not, just start by creating that ideal picture first. Because if you don't, many people already censor their dreams and desires before they even acknowledge them to themselves. So start there. Give yourself permission to just dream freely and look at what do I want? My most ideal business in life, what does it look like? And just write everything down. Doesn't matter what it is, everything that comes up. And then once you feel that your list is sort of complete, and you can always add things later, look at the things that are absolutely non-negotiable for you. Just look at them. And it's important to know them so that then when you are speaking with someone and they want something different than you want, you know where your boundary is, and you also know where you can be flexible. And if you have to think about that in the moment, maybe you are compromising on something that's actually a non-negotiable for you. So it's very important to know that. And when you know your non-negotiables, make them sacred. Make them sacred. These are just your top priorities. And no matter what happens, you stick to them. Even if you only have one to start with it, and you can always build from there. And it's just such a good thing to know your non-negotiables, Like for me, I know that I don't work with people if I don't feel 100% certain that we resonate and I'm the right person for them. And I absolutely love the idea of working with them. If I don't love the idea of working with someone, I don't do it. I just don't do it. My time is too precious. Why would I want to spend time with someone I don't love? I want to open my calendar, see the appointments I have, and I want to feel my heart jumping for joy when I see someone's name. Oh, yes, I'm talking to that client again. That, for example, is a non-negotiable for me. And everyone has their own non-negotiables. There's no right or wrong there. It simply means that you know what you are and what you are not willing to compromise on or be flexible in. Because there's nothing wrong about compromising or being flexible or, a little give and take. There's nothing wrong with that. But for everyone, there are just certain things that you cannot compromise on, or you will just resent yourself when you do it, So I think that that's very important.
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement with you on that. Thank you so much for sharing that amazing exercise. Everybody definitely go and do that, even if you've done it before. And thank you so much for bringing this conversation and sharing all of your nuggets of wisdom. Please tell us, for those who are interested in learning more about your work and what you're up to, what have you got going on? Where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me. My website is on yourwayornoway.com. And there you can see everything that I'm up to and what books I'm working on and what programs I have. So you can just go there, yourwayornoway.com. You can also sign up for a free ebook, Put Yourself First, Baby. You can sign up for that there if you like to know more about being divinely selfish. And if you are interested in the book, The Art of Divine Selfishness, you also find it on the website, or you can go to divinelyselfish.com, and that brings you to the landing page of the book, and you can read all about it, have a look inside. And if you like what you see, you also find the order links there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Brigitte.
Thank you, Sarah. I enjoyed being here.
And thank you everybody for watching. Please go to iTunes and leave the show a 5-star review to support this so more people can join in the conversation. Please like and subscribe on all of whatever platforms you listen to this on, and make sure to tune in again next week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
For more inspirational content, head over to my website withsarahmac.com, and please support the show by liking, commenting, and subscribing.